20 years ago, a man named Mark sat at a desk. The silence of the room punctuated only by the scratch of a pen and the heavy thud of paper applications hitting the desk. He spent his mornings sorting, stapling, and mailing. He lived by the schedule of the post office. Across the street, his neighbor Sarah sat before a glowing screen. With a few rhythmic clicks, she sent her resume into the ether. While Mark waited for the mail to arrive, Sarah was already sitting in her first interview. That was the first digital divide. It was not a wall of steel, but a gap of time. Mark looked at his stack of paper, still waiting for a response that would take weeks to arrive. Sarah had already moved on. This pattern, the slow crawl of the traditional against the velocity of the new, did not start with the internet, but it certainly accelerated there. It was a silent shift in how work was done, how opportunities were claimed, and how the world moved forward. Those who stayed with the paper were left waiting in the wings, while those who embraced the digital leap found the door already open. The landscape has shifted again. Inside a quiet office, Elena types a complex prompt into an interface. Her screen flickers with rapid, generated data. In seconds, she compiles a marketing strategy that would have occupied her team for 3 full days. Meanwhile, at the next desk, David ignores the blinking cursor of the tool. He grips his pen, manually drafting every paragraph, line by grinding line. By midday, the difference is undeniable. Elena has already finalized 4 distinct projects, her workflow fluid and accelerated. David has barely crossed the halfway point on his first. This is not a story about machines replacing human effort. It is a story about the gap between those who reach for the lever and those who watch from the sidelines. Elena treats the interface as a tool for expansion, while David treats his manual process as a badge of integrity. The divide is not between the tech-savvy and the rest. It is a choice between the curious and the static. One is building speed. The other is building a wall of their own making. Look beyond the office walls. In a local clinic, Dr. Aris faces a terminal screen. He types a symptom list and uses an interface to cross-reference thousands of medical journals in seconds. He does not replace his years of study. He augments them, catching a critical drug interaction he might have otherwise missed. The time saved is measured in patient lives. Miles away, in a small, flour-dusted bakery, the owner stares at a dashboard. She uses an AI model to predict ingredient demand based on local weather and seasonal trends. She cuts waste by 20%, turning a thin profit margin into a sustainable business. These people are not computer scientists. They do not write code or build models. They use these systems as a lever to move heavier, more complex loads. They are simply asking better questions of the data at their fingertips. The pressure is mounting. If a baker can optimize a shop and a doctor can refine a diagnosis, what happens to those who refuse to pick up the lever? The risk is not that the machine will suddenly take your place. The risk is the quiet, slow-motion stagnation that comes from refusing to experiment while the world moves forward around you. Think of it as a bicycle for the mind. You do not need to understand how the gears mesh or how the steel was forged to ride it to your destination. You do not need to be an engineer to travel faster than you could on foot. You only need to learn to balance and steer. This is the core of the shift. These tools exist to amplify your own clarity and your own speed. The moment you start using them, the bottleneck in your work begins to dissolve. Many fear the machine will do their thinking for them. This is the wrong perspective. The machine is not the pilot. It is the engine. You are the navigator. You define the path, you set the goal, and you choose the destination. The greatest danger is not the tool itself. The danger is the refusal to experiment. It is the static state of standing still while the world accelerates. Every day you wait to engage, you lose the chance to sharpen your own edge. Mastery does not come from deep technical knowledge of algorithms. It comes from the willingness to try, to fail, and to iterate. Stagnation is a choice. Growth is a practice. Pick up the lever. Apply this to your daily life. If you are a student, use these tools to map your research and organize complex notes. If you are a parent, use them to build a budget or design a lesson plan for your children. If you are planning for retirement, use them to synthesize your financial data. The digital divide is not a wall, it is a bridge. You cross it at your own pace, one experiment at a time. The future does not belong to the people who master the algorithms. It belongs to those who wield these tools with purpose. Are you ready to integrate these systems into your workflow, or are you still standing on the sidelines watching the horizon? Share your experiences in the comments. Your perspective helps us map the reality of these shifts. If you appreciate these deep dives into the technology shaping our world, subscribe to Breaking It Down and turn on notifications. We explore the stories that matter, one layer at a time. What should we break down next?